Hello everyone, welcome to EHAP Indonesia 2020 Goes Online. This is Institution Webinar Series. My name is Christy Johanna. I'm going to be moderating this webinar. This webinar is going to be presented by the University of Edinburgh. Please stay tuned until the end of the webinar because we will hold a Q&A session. If you have any questions about the presentation or anything related to the country's higher education, you can submit your questions in YouTube's comment section anytime throughout the presentation. And now, please welcome Ms. Louise from the University of Edinburgh. The time is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome along to the University of Edinburgh's presentation here at the EHEF Indonesia Fair. Just to introduce myself, my name is Louise Zeelenberg, and I'm the Regional Manager for Southeast Asia and Australasia at the University of Edinburgh. So I am based in the International Office of the University. Normally at this point in time, we would obviously be travelling out to the region of Southeast Asia and specifically to Indonesia to take part in the in-person event normally held by EHEF. But unfortunately this year, as you all know, due to the travel restrictions, we are limited to doing the event online. So hopefully this presentation that I'm about to show you will be able to give you a flavour for what it's like to study and live at the University of Edinburgh. Okay. So in the presentation today, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the country of Scotland and the city of Edinburgh, about the University of Edinburgh, how to apply, fees and funding, accommodation, careers, employability, and the new graduate route visa, and then we will have some question and answer. So Edinburgh, the University of Edinburgh is located in Scotland, which for those of you who are maybe not too hot on your UK geography, Scotland is the country sitting at the top of the UK, so on top of England, and it is one of 4 countries that make up the United Kingdom. Now, the population of Scotland is relatively small. It's only about 5.5 million people. But that said, there are 15 universities in Scotland, and 4 of those universities, we're very proud to say, are ancient universities. So you're probably familiar with the University of Oxford and Cambridge in England, which are ancient universities. But in Scotland, we also have 4 ancient universities. So that would be ourselves, the University of Glasgow, the University of St Andrews, and the University of Aberdeen. It may surprise you to know that there are around 50,000 international students studying in Scotland at the moment, coming from around about 180 countries. And the other thing that you might not be aware of is that Scotland actually has its own government and its own parliament. So probably when you listen to the media, you hear all about Boris Johnson and the Westminster government, who are obviously based in London. But here in Edinburgh, we have our own seat of our own Scottish government and parliament. And the Scottish government has devolved powers over certain things. And one of the things that it has power over is education. So the education system in Scotland is a little bit different to the rest of the UK, specifically in regards to school education and bachelor's degree education. So for example, at schools in Scotland, we don't study A levels, which is what the rest of the UK schools offer. We study something called Scottish Highers. And then at bachelor's degree level in Scotland, our degrees are all 4 years in duration as opposed to 3 years in the rest of the UK. Now, for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to visit Scotland or Edinburgh, I have included some really great images in this presentation, and you can see there's a lot of historic buildings. It's a very historic city, but also a very cosmopolitan city. So Edinburgh is in fact the capital of Scotland with a population of 500,000. And around about 15% of the population of Edinburgh is made up of students. So there are 4 universities in the city of Edinburgh, of which we are one, and we are the largest of the 4 universities. Edinburgh is one of the most vibrant cities in Europe, and it is often voted one of the most desirable places to live. So a lot of people will come to live in Edinburgh, whether that's for their studies or whether that's post-graduation to come and live and maybe to start their career journey here in the city. It was also voted the safest city in Britain in a government survey in 2014. So if you are concerned, or if you have parents who are maybe concerned about you travelling so far away to study, you can hopefully reassure them with that statistic. So as I said, it's a very historic, cosmopolitan and cultured city. And it is a really beautiful city with some really good world-class attractions. So for example, we are the world's first UNESCO City of Literature and also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. We also are now marketed, if you like, as a year-round destination and a festival city. And we do host 12 annual festivals. And the festival that you may have heard of is the Edinburgh International Arts Festival. It's called the Edinburgh Fringe. And this is a month-long festival which runs during the month of August. And it is all types of arts, so performing arts, visual arts, music, drama, lots of things going on in this city. So if you do come to study at the University of Edinburgh, do please try to ensure that you stay at least 1 year over the month of August so that you can experience that. The main industries in the city of Edinburgh are really, we are a financial centre, but hospitality and tourism are also very important industries here in Edinburgh. And probably the third one to mention, I believe the National Health Service is probably about the third largest employer in the city. So healthcare, if you're looking to study healthcare or anything within banking, finance or hospitality, tourism, there's certainly lots of opportunities to put your degrees to good use here in the city. So the University of Edinburgh, as I mentioned, is one of the ancient universities, and we were founded in 1583. We are ranked in the global top 20. So this year, for example, we are 20th in the world in the QS World Rankings. We're also a member of various different networks and partnerships. So the one that you may be familiar with there on the screen is the Russell Group. The Russell Group is it's a group of research-intensive UK universities, and it's often described as the equivalent of the Ivy League in the US. So the University of Edinburgh is a pretty large university. This current academic year, we have over 44,000 students. 20,000 would be undergraduate and more than 17,000 postgraduate. We also have over 21,000 international students coming from more than 160 countries. So we are, I think, in the top 3 UK universities in terms of the number of international students we have. For those of you who are maybe considering applying or have applied already, you probably have discovered that we actually have over 400 different undergraduate degree programs, around about 300 taught postgraduate programs, and approximately 135 research areas. So just to touch a little bit on the research, because I'm aware some of you may be postgraduate students who are interested in research at Edinburgh. So just to let you know, we are a world leading research institution. So we're the first in Scotland and the fourth in the UK. And our research does have global impact. So we currently have over 1,000 international research collaborations going on with lots of different universities and organisations globally. As I mentioned in the previous slides, we were founded in 1583, so we do have a pretty long history of discovery, invention and innovation. So for example, research at Edinburgh has laid the foundations for lots of different things, including things like English literature, quantum mechanics and the theory of evolution, because I am pleased to say that Charles Darwin is one of our alumni. So currently, over 80% of our academic staff are actively involved in research. So they would be teaching, but also researching at the same time. So if you come to do a research degree at Edinburgh, you'll definitely be able to interact with staff who are not only teaching your programs, but also researching in your specialised area. And just to let you know that the University of Edinburgh is associated with 24 Nobel Prize winners. So just to highlight the type of postgraduate degrees that we have at Edinburgh. So in terms of the taught postgraduate degrees, we offer a number of different qualifications from the MA, MSc, the MBA, the MEd, Muse and the LLM. And all of these taught programs are highly intensive and normally 12 months of full-time study. So that would typically run from September to September. The format is 2 10-week semesters, which then culminate in a dissertation or a project that you would write over the summer and submit at the end of August. The top programs are a mix of both core and optional courses. So you will have, every master's program will have some compulsory modules that you have to study, but usually you will also have some choices. So you can pick and choose maybe one or two other subjects to complete your degree, if you like. And this does often include the opportunity for interdisciplinary study. So sometimes those optional modules don't have to come from the same area as your major subject. But the master's program really is specialised training. So it is coursework with assessment chosen to suit the circumstances. So typically in a master's program, you would complete 8 taught modules, and those modules would each have some form of assessment, which could be a final exam, or it could be a written project, could be a presentation, could be an essay, could be group work. So there's lots of different forms of assessment, if you like. It's not all based on final exam. Obviously, the dissertation or the project that you complete over the summer does contribute significantly to your final exam, your final degree result. For the research degrees, we offer a 1-year Master's in Research, a 2-year Master's MPhil degree, and a 3-year PhD. And that's really managing a project in collaboration with one or more supervisors. And that type of study tends to be much more unstructured because you're not following a strict timetable of classes. So it does require dedication, resilience, and motivation to keep going with your studies, if you like. However, that said, you will have access to strong technical, methodological, educational, and social support structures. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, we do have 17,000 postgraduate students at the university. So some will be doing taught courses, but some will be doing research courses. So there is quite a strong network of support there amongst other research students. Obviously, you'll all be researching in very different areas, but there are networks in place which allow you to interact with students doing similar types of research to you, but maybe in different areas. And also, as I mentioned, the academics who are working in research, this does obviously give you the opportunity to work with these experts. And don't worry, because all of our master's degrees are internationally recognised and accredited qualifications. Now, for those of you who are interested in our undergraduate degrees, I did mention that the education system in Scotland is slightly different to the rest of the UK. So in England, Wales and Northern Ireland, the majority of honours degrees are 3 years in duration, but in Scotland they are 4 years for an honours degree. Now, this is because Scottish degrees have a lot of flexibility and choice of subjects to study, particularly in your first and second year. So let me just tell you kind of what that looks like for a student doing an undergraduate degree at Edinburgh. Basically, in the first year, you would choose your major and you will have compulsory courses in that major subject, but you're normally allowed to choose between 2 and 3 outside subjects to complement your major. And those outside subjects can come from really anywhere in the university. They don't have to be from the same subject area or discipline as your major. So say, for example, you were doing an undergraduate degree in politics. You might want to take French, for example, as an elective subject, or you might want to take marketing. So it does offer students what we call breadth of study in the first 2 years of their degree. And the idea to give you the breadth of study is that once you've graduated, you can see on the transcript that you've actually achieved university level study, not only in your major subject, but in other subjects as well, which does show that you're capable of achieving a university degree in subjects across the board and not just within that specialisation. So, for example, when you apply for a job, if an employer says, oh, we're looking for somebody with a degree in marketing, but we also, it would be an advantage if they have a language, you can say, well, actually, I did French for the first 2 years at university level. So this does give you an advantage. The other thing to mention is if you have already looked on our degree finder on our website at some of our undergraduate degrees, you will notice that we actually award a Master of Arts for some of our undergraduate degrees, and those would be the degrees in Humanities and Social Sciences. So this often confuses students because they always believe that a master is a postgraduate qualification. However, being one of the ancient universities, we are allowed to award you a Master of Arts rather than a Bachelor of Arts in Humanities and Social Sciences. So say, for example, you're interested in studying business, politics, international relations, any of those type of programs, you would actually graduate with an MA Hons as opposed to a BA. And that Master of Arts is still an undergraduate qualification, but it indicates that you have graduated from a prestigious or ancient university. So just to kind of show you how the university, being as large as it is with the 44,000 students, is broken down, it's broken down into 3 colleges. And when you apply to the University of Edinburgh, you will apply, your application will be looked at by one of the admissions teams in one of the 3 colleges. So they're all decentralized, the admissions teams, they're all working within their own separate college. So the largest college is the College of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences, and that has about 24,000 students. It's divided into 12 schools that you can see there on the screen. And I would say that for international students, probably the most popular schools would be definitely the Business School. School of Economics is also popular. Edinburgh College of Art is where we have all of our art and design programs. The one thing to note I would mention about law is if you're interested in law at undergraduate, please note that that's Scots law. So that might not be applicable if you want to work internationally, because that is really only for students who want to stay back in Scotland to practice. However, at postgraduate level, law or LLM programs are internationally focused. The other ones to mention, which you might find interesting, are obviously psychology. That's quite a popular degree at Edinburgh. And also within the social and political science, we offer our international relations programme, and that's a popular one as well. The next college is the College of Medicine and Vet Medicine, and that's only made up of 2 schools, which are the medical school and the vet school. And at undergraduate degree level, they offer our medicine degree and our vet medicine degree. Our medicine degree at Edinburgh is 6 years, and our veterinary degree is 5 years. But the medical school also offer degrees in biomedical sciences and clinical sciences and some very specialist master's programs. And the vet school also offers some programs in agricultural sciences. So the third and final college is the middle-sized college with around about 10,000 students, and that's the College of Science and Engineering. And that college is split down into 7 schools that you can see there on the screen. I would say that definitely the most popular of those schools would be our informatics school, where we teach things like computer science, data science, artificial intelligence, for example. But other popular schools would be engineering, and maths is also becoming more popular in the last couple of years. So how to apply, if you're interested in a postgraduate qualification, you can apply directly online on our website. So you go into our degree finder online, and then you can see on the screen down the right hand side, there is a section on applying, and you can literally just click the apply now button. So when you make your application, you will fill in an online application form and then you will be asked to upload documents. And those documents at postgraduate level would be your degree, certificate and your transcript, your Ielts test, your personal statement and a reference. Now, if you are applying for a research qualification, if it's a MPhil or a PhD, you'll first of all have to contact a supervisor, maybe one or more supervisors, to speak to them firstly so that they can confirm that they will be able to sponsor you, or sorry, to supervise you. So in terms of their capacity to supervise new students, and secondly in terms of the specialisation. So once you have located a supervisor, at that point you would then be able to go ahead and make your application. Now for the undergraduate students there, to let you know that the undergraduate applications all must go through UCAS, the online application portal, and those of you who are making UCAS applications, you probably have somebody at your school who's able to help you with that. Normally a school guidance counsellor will be able to assist you, but if not, it's fairly straightforward. It's just an online application form where you upload your predicted or actual results. We do recommend that if you're applying for 2020 at undergraduate level, you do make your UCAS application before the 15th of January. That is the deadline for home students, but at Edinburgh, we also recommend international students apply by the 15th of January also, so that they will be considered in the first batch of offers. So I have put a link on the screen there to where you can find the entry requirements from Indonesia. So at undergraduate level at the University of Edinburgh, we do not accept the Indonesian local high school qualification. We require an internationally recognised qualification such as A-level, IB, or the American tests such as SATs, ACTs, or APs. At postgraduate level, we also have a page on our website dedicated to Indonesia. Basically, we are looking for a minimum GPA of 3.0 out of 4.0, but some of our courses will require a higher GPA, the more popular courses. So particularly in the law school or the business school, to be a competitive applicant, you would really require a GPA of 3.2 out of 4 or above. If you have a degree from another country, you can search on our postgraduate pages, because we do have degree equivalencies for many different countries, including the US, for example, Canada, Australia, UK, if you have done an international degree. It's likely as well that you will require Ielts, and it depends on the subject that you apply for, but the minimum entry requirement at postgraduate level is a 6.5 Ielts for the sciences and engineering and a 7 for the humanities and social sciences. And if you would like support with your application, we have an agent, a representative located in Indonesia, IBEC, who is located in Jakarta. And if you click the link that you see on the screen there, you will be able to access their contact details. Now for fees and funding, the tuition fees are on the website. So I've put the postgraduate and the undergraduate tuition fee links there on the slide. Also important to remember is the cost of living. We're pretty lucky in Edinburgh because the standard of living is very high, but the cost of living is actually quite low in comparison to other UK cities. So we say approximately £1,000 per month will cover your accommodation costs, food costs, any travel costs, and general living costs. Now, we always get asked about scholarships. University of Edinburgh has very, very limited funding available for scholarships. So I would say don't bank on receiving a scholarship from the University of Edinburgh. Do ensure that you have your own funding in place, because the scholarships are pretty limited and they're not full scholarships. They would be discounts on your tuition fees. However, you can search on our fees and funding webpage to have a look and see what's available. They are awarded on academic merit, so typically looking either at your predicted or actual school grades, or at postgraduate level, they will be based on your bachelor's degree grades. They do have early deadlines. The earliest deadline that I'm aware of for our scholarship applications is February of the year that you want to study. And you should have already applied and been offered a place when you apply for your scholarship. And just to mention as well, for those of you who are postgrad students, we do receive many funded LPDP students, as well as other Indonesian scholarship students. But I just wanted to mention that we are recognised by LPDP to receive funded students. Just a short note now about accommodation. So the accommodation cost depends pretty much on what you choose. So for example, at undergraduate level, we have catered or self-catered accommodation. The catered is obviously more expensive because that includes meals 7 days per week. So that would be 2 breakfasts, 2 dinners, 7 days per week. So the catered tuition fees or accommodation fees go from about £7,000 to £8,500, and that's based on a 37-week lease. And our self-catered fees are obviously considerably cheaper. You will have access to a kitchen, so you'll be able to cook for yourself, and that's based on a 38-week lease. So an undergraduate degree actually only lasts 38 weeks. So as you can imagine, it's over in a flash. No sooner have you had your Christmas holidays, you're back in Easter holidays, and then you're already finished your first year. So the tenancy contract runs from the beginning of September to the end of May, and it does include the Christmas and Easter holidays, but you have to move out at the end of May because we use our accommodation for our pre-sessional English and our summer school students. And the rent that you see on the screen, or if you go onto the accommodation webpage and have a look, does include everything. So all your bills are included in that. There's no further charges. And we do guarantee the accommodation for the first year of study. And then after the first year of study, the majority of students will go on to rent private accommodation with friends that they've made on their course or other students they've met in accommodation. And in the city of Edinburgh, finding private accommodation is really easy. There are so many flats located around the university, which typically every year are rented by University of Edinburgh students. So it's pretty straightforward to find a place to live. Postgraduate accommodation, that again depends, the cost depends on what you choose. If you want to choose the kind of flat or apartment style, or you want to choose more the residence, like the corridor style residence blocks. And the postgraduate accommodation is 51 weeks. So that runs the September to September or September to the end of August. And again, the rent includes everything. So you shouldn't have any further bills on top of the price that you're paying for your accommodation. Just wanted to touch a little bit on careers and employability now. So just to highlight that the University of Edinburgh is in the top 50 in the graduate employability rankings. That's the QS graduate employability rankings this year. We do have a fairly robust career service at the University of Edinburgh. It's a large team on hand to help you with all kinds of things. So for example, in the first week of term, we will run our careers fair, but throughout the year, they will be able to assist you with things like one-to-one CV writing meetings, interview practice or interview techniques, if you like. They will be able to send you details of placements or internships or part-time jobs, and they'll also be able to connect you or into a network with potential employers if you are looking for your graduate job. And it's very easy to interact with them both in person, they're located in our main library, or via the My Career Hub, which is the online platform where most things like job vacancies and things like that are circulated. Lastly, I just wanted to highlight something that you might not be aware of. So the UK government has introduced or will be introducing a new post-study work visa from summer 2021, and it's going to be called the graduate route. And basically, students who successfully graduate from a UK university will be able to apply for a 2-year visa, or 3 years in the case of PhD students, to stay back in the UK to work without needing a job offer first. So that is different to what we currently have, because currently you need to have a job offer before you can apply for a visa to stay back. So this new incentive is going to be launched in summer 2021, and it will be for any student who successfully graduates from summer 2021 onwards. Now, there was a big, I guess, press release and information about this last year, but then the coronavirus has kind of taken over the media. So there's not as much information out there as there should be. However, I have put a link there which links to the British Council website, and there is some information online on the British Council website about that visa. So lastly, just to finish up now, I didn't want to talk too much about the COVID-19 situation, but obviously we know it's having a huge impact on your decision making about what you're going to do. Are you going to make an application this year? Are you going to hang on? So we do have a page on the website which is updated regularly with information about the University of Edinburgh and its COVID-19 situation. So do keep an eye on that. And also, finally, just a way to get in touch. We now have a one-stop shop where you can send all of your questions to our future students' email address, and our colleagues in that team will be able to respond to you. So I'm going to stop my presentation now, and I will invite any questions.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Louise, for the presentation. Now we will begin the Q&A session. I will read the question that you already posted on the YouTube comment section. So the first question that already asked is about the tips and tricks for personal statement. What kind of personal statements that is expected by the university, so the students can get an unconditional letter of acceptance.
So at the undergraduate level, the University of Edinburgh looks for the personal statement to be about 80% focused on academics and 20% focused on other external extracurricular things. So obviously, when you're writing an undergraduate personal statement, it's a really good idea to speak to your school guidance counsellor for advice on that, because you do have a limited word count, and you are applying for probably 5 different universities, and each university may have its own separate requirements. So for example, Oxford and Cambridge might want you to write more about your academic achievements, whereas other universities might want you to write a bit more about your extracurricular activities. So it is quite important to find a balance, but at Edinburgh we're looking for 80% extracurricular, 80% academic, 20% extracurricular. And we want to see really things like your motivation for doing the course, how the subjects that you're studying at school level relate to the course. Do you fully understand what the course is about? Do you know, if you're applying for astrophysics, do you actually know what astrophysics is? And other things like transferable skills that you may have picked up through clubs or societies or things like that at your school. So things like maybe leadership or team working, or managing your time effectively. Those kind of things are all things you can put in your undergrad personal statement. And at postgraduate, you have a bit more freedom, obviously, to write more about your own motivations and ambitions. And particularly if you're changing direction, if you like, if your undergraduate degree was in one area and you're looking to change slightly to another area, it's very important to use your personal statement to explain and justify that change. But if you're staying in the same subject area, you should definitely talk about what's motivating you to go on to further study, and how you want to specialize or use that postgraduate degree to focus your career further.
Okay. Thank you very much for your answer. The next question. is it possible to cross program if the student got different undergraduate degree background? Is it possible for them to take a different program in their master program? Example, from anthropology student undergraduate degree, and then they want to take international human resources management. Is it possible to do that?
So it depends. So at Edinburgh, there are some degrees that it is possible to do that, but mostly I would say you would follow your master's degree in in the same area as you've done the bachelor's degree. The reason for that is because some of the master's degree programs at Edinburgh are very, very competitive to enter, and we do look for you to have prior knowledge in that area, if you like. So, for example, to go into international human resource management, we would probably be looking for somebody to come from a business background, if not actually an HRM background. However, we do have some degrees. For example, we have an MSc management degree where we do accept students from other backgrounds because it's actually about training them in management skills. So, say, for example, you've done an undergraduate degree in engineering, but you need to get some management skills in order to progress your career. That is exactly the degree for you because we don't have a requirement that you come from a business background. So really it depends on the postgraduate degree that you want to go into. The best advice really is just to have a look on our degree finder on the website, and the entry requirements are pretty clear. Some of them are very, very specific, that you have to come from the same discipline at undergraduate, and sometimes it's so specific that we even look on your transcript to see how many credits you've done in certain subjects, because that is how competitive our degrees are. So for example, some of our degrees in the business school and some of our degrees in computer science or data science are so highly competitive that we're even looking to count the number of credits you have in maths or in algebra or things like that. So my advice really is to have a look at the degree finder on the website, and you'll be able to see the degrees, the very specific entry requirements.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm having a difficult some technicalities problem over here, but I hope you
Okay.
can still hear me.
Yes, I can.
Okay. The next question would be, someone asked about whether can they see the curriculum of the program that they take. Can they
Okay.
see the class or the and how much the credit that they're going to get from that
Yes.
class on the
Yes,
website?
absolutely. Yep. So on the website, we have every single one of our degree programs is on the website. And if you click into the degree program, you will see there is a tab which says program. It says, what will I study? And if you go into that tab, there is a little link to the program structure. And the program structure will open in a separate part of the website. And within the program structure, it will tell you all of the compulsory courses and all the optional courses that you can take, and it will tell you what you cover in each week of teaching, and it will also tell you how many credits each course has and how each course is assessed. So that level of detail is available directly on our website. You need to go into the tab which is what will I study, and then at the bottom of that tab there will be a link where it says program structure. Click on that link and that information will be there, and that will be there for all undergraduate and postgraduate degrees.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Okay, we have someone that's really eager to enter University of Edinburgh, I believe. Still a 10th grade student, and she's asking whether what kind of preparation for the 10th grade student that they should do before they're applying when they're 12th grade.
So sorry, can you just repeat, was that for undergraduate or for postgraduate level?
Yes, for undergraduate student,
Uh-huh.
for undergraduate student, for the
Okay.
student that's still 10th grade, what kind
Okay.
of preparation that they should do?
Okay, so if they're in 10th grade or below, then really the preparation that you should do is probably have a look at the degree that you're interested in on the website, and double check the subject specific requirements, because obviously at that point you still can choose your IB or your A-level subjects. So to ensure that you're choosing the right subjects for entry, I would check that so that you can make the correct choices. Other than that, obviously you can focus on extracurricular things as well. So if you're in any clubs or societies, you can try to further hone your transferable skills. So things like I mentioned, like, your time management skills or your team working skills or your leadership skills, those kind of things you can be certainly working on. And if you are applying for something like medicine or vet medicine, it is important to try to get some form of experience. Obviously, that's either shadowing or voluntary experience, or maybe like a 1 day working with a vet or something like that. Those kind of things are important for those type of programs. You don't have to do that for all of the programs, but certainly for programs like medicine or vet medicine, it's important to try to get some exposure or experience. So if you've still got a couple of years before you need to make your application, that does give you plenty of time to do that. And also, we do recommend if students can do extra reading or go to any workshops, or look at maybe doing extra online modules in certain subject areas. All of those kind of things go towards making your personal statement more competitive compared to other students.
Okay, I believe that is the end of our Q&A session. Just a reminder, you can connect with Ms. Louise through the information given earlier. And for the viewers of the webinar, there will be virtual fair for this Friday and this Saturday on the 27th and 28th of November. And you can also consult directly to the university representative. You can access the event through the website event.ehaf.id. So, okay, thank you for watching. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Miss Louise,
everybody.
for the
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
see
And I'd just like to say that, as was said, we will be at the fair on Friday and Saturday, myself, and I will have a colleague from the business school with me as well. So if you're available to come along, please do come along. Our Zoom links will be advertised.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening and see you in our next session.